Few see Mad Bum going anywhere now. Things can change in a hurry, but this is typical from rival exec. No way Giants can sell. They're on fire. The Giants aren't selling? This can't be real. The Giants need to be sellers at the deadline this year. It just blows my mind to think that they won't be trading off these big pieces that they have to get back some prospects and help rebuild that team because they've won 16 of their last 19. They've played bad baseball for almost 85% of the season this year, but because of these last 20 games, they now think they're in it, maybe have a chance at the playoffs, even a chance at the World Series. That's what you have to think of. Do you realistically have a shot at winning the World Series this year? Because right now, the way this Giants team is constructed, absolutely not. The reason I call this video the Giants are liars and can't be trusted is because that's exactly what they are. This team is a fallacy. You can't trust this team. I'm gonna go over my reasons why the Giants need to be sellers at the deadline in today's video, because the reasons as to why they should sell completely outweigh the reasons why they should try and keep this team together and be buyers. It's just so blatantly obvious. I hope the Giants and their organization know what they're doing in the front office, because you can't possibly think that this team has a chance. Now, before I get going into a little bit of a rant here, remember to leave a like on the video if you guys do enjoy it. A little bit of a different one today. I typically don't just do one-off videos about teams, but this felt like it needed to be made. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, this is the place to be. Make sure to hit that sub button. Remember to get in the comment section down below. Let me know your opinions on the Giants situation. Do you think they should go for it in Bruce Bochy's last year as a manager? Should they push for the playoffs, or is it time to sell off everybody and start a fresh rebuild? Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. I've been talking about the Giants all day on Twitter today. That's a great way to get in contact with me about baseball as well. And of course, if you guys want to buy any tickets to baseball games or any sporting events in the future, make sure to head on over to SeatGeek and use the code Giraffe at checkout to save yourself $20 off your first purchase. So let's get going by talking about where the Giants lay right now in Major League Baseball. If you look at the current standings as of right now, the time I'm making this video, 4:45 Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday, the Giants are tied for second place with the Diamondbacks with a 51-50 record. They currently sit 15.5 outside of first place in the National League West and 2 outside of the second wildcard spot. So in theory, yes, they are technically in the hunt for a wildcard position. They've won 9 of their last 10 and 16 of their last 19. Those would all be signs that are pointing upward, correct? While the Giants have been playing really good baseball the last month, your eyes are being deceived. You're listening to the wrong numbers. This team is not a team that is built to win games over a long period of time. Now, yes, they've gotten extremely hot, but the reason I call this team a liar and they can't be trusted is because when you look deeper into the numbers, this is not a team that can continue to sustain the success that they've had in the last 20 games or so. This is not a good team. This is not a team that's built to win right now. This is not a team that's built to win in the future. Oh, don't even get me started. For the future, the Giants look terrible, but that's going to go into part of this video. This is a team that's playing good baseball. This happens to teams in baseball all the time. Look at the Mets the last couple of years. We've had stretches of baseball where we've played well, and clearly we're not a very good team right now. Look at our record the last 2 years. I've even been someone who's been deceived by the Mets, and the Giants are in a worse scenario than the Mets have been the last couple seasons. Trust me, the way that team is built, it is in a bad spot for the future. And before I start talking about the Giants roster, look at what the Pittsburgh Pirates did last year. They went out and they traded Tyler Glasnow and Austin Meadows for Chris Archer. They were kind of in a similar scenario last year. Were they contenders? Were they a team that needed to sell? They went the buying scenario, and look what it got them. It got them Chris Archer, who's looked terrible, and they shipped off Austin Meadows, who's been fantastic for the Rays. They shipped off Tyler Glasnow, who at the start of the year was one of the best pitchers in the game, for a guy in Chris Archer, who has always had the potential, but never lived up to it, and he's looked terrible in Pittsburgh. They're not making the playoffs this year. So let me tell you why the Giants are liars and they can't be trusted. Let's start off with their offense. Their offense is horrible, terrible, one of the worst offenses in all of baseball. That lineup 1 through 8 is atrocious. The quality of players in their lineup offensively is extremely low. So let's just go through some of the guys that they have playing right now, some of their stats, and why it's just not very impressive. So right now at catcher, Buster Posey's their main guy. He's not going anywhere, I'm well aware. I'm not saying they should trade him. But at the plate, he's been very underwhelming. 5 home runs, 19 doubles, 28 RBIs, 259 average, 322 on base, 394 slugging, OPS at 717. That's not very good. At first base, they have Brandon Belt, and while he's been one of their better hitters, he's still not particularly great this year. 11 homers, 17 doubles, 2 triples, 36 RBIs, 243 average, 362 on base, 409 slugging, 771 OPS. So he's not having a bad year. He's definitely one of their better hitters. But keep that in mind, he is one of the best hitters on the Giants. Second base, they've been rocking Joe Panic, Donovan Solano. Joe Panic's been absolutely atrocious. 3 homers, 16 doubles, 27 RBIs, 239 average, 314 on base, 323 slugging, 637 OPS. That's bad. Brandon Crawford at shortstop pretty much has no offensive value whatsoever. 9 homers, 18 doubles, 43 RBIs, 238 average, 307 on base, 386 slugging, 693 OPS. So another player with an OPS below 700 in their lineup. At third base, Longoria is actually hurt right now. He has plantar fasciitis. 13 homers, 14 doubles, 39 RBIs, 241 average, 318 on base, 446 slugging, 764 OPS. So again, a little bit of a better season, but still not a player with an OPS in the 800s. You've got Mike Yastrzemski, who's been one of their better offensive players through 49 games. 9 homers, 8 doubles, 2 triples, 28 RBIs, an OPS at 807, 500 slugging percentage. 307 on base though, doesn't really get on base too much. 265 batting average, decent, but in a short period of time. And with all due respect to Mike Yastrzemski, this probably isn't a guy that starts on most other Major League Baseball teams. He got called up in his 28-year-old season, hasn't really done much ever before this year. So to rely on him to help carry your offense is absolutely crazy. It's nuts. You got Kevin Pillar from the Blue Jays, who's one of your best power hitters with 12 homers and 22 doubles this year. 701 OPS, that's not very good. Steven Duggar got sent down because he wasn't playing well. They called up Alex Dickerson, who's been a bit of a journeyman in his career. You're relying on a 29-year-old who hasn't produced at the Major League level to be one of your big hitters as well. Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda, is one of their best players on offense this year, and you think this is a team that shouldn't be selling? You can't possibly think that. You can't go, Pablo Sandoval is one of the best players on this team offensively. Oh yeah, this is a team that's made to go to the playoffs. This is a team that could have a chance at the World Series. They should definitely be buyers. Go out there, make a push. Bruce Bochy's last season. Pablo Sandoval, Kung Fu Panda, the man bust open his belt on a swing a few years ago. I can't even wrap my head around that. You're relying on Pablo Sandoval, Mike Yastrzemski, and Alex Dickerson to carry this team offensively. It is asinine to think that this team can make the playoffs based on their offense. It's terrible. And if you think that's not enough, let me go to the offensive rankings as a team. In the National League, the Giants are 12th out of 15th in runs scored, only in front of teams like the Reds, the Padres, and the Marlins. Wow. When it comes to batting average in the National League, the Giants rank 15th, last place, behind the Marlins. And then when you go to on-base percentage, they're 26th in all of baseball in on-base, 28th in slugging. There's only 2 teams with a worse slugging percentage than the Giants. That's the Marlins and the Tigers. And they're 28th in OPS. This lineup is not built to be a playoff team. They're in the same conversation with the Tigers and Marlins offensively. The Orioles, the Royals, the Blue Jays are better offenses than the Giants. I mean, you just can't think that this is a lineup that's built to win. They currently have a negative 41 run differential, and it's not unheard of to have a team that actually makes the playoffs with a negative run differential. It's definitely not common, but it has happened, but not with a negative 41. And when you actually look back at the Giants games recently, it's not like they're scoring a ton of runs every single game. They have a couple here and there where they just absolutely went off. They had one series against the Padres where they scored a total of 30 runs in 3 games. They played 4 games against the Rockies where they scored 40 runs. So right there, 7 games they scored 70 runs, and then there's 5 other games in the month of July where they've scored 3 runs or less. And then in the month of June where they played 27 games, 14 of those they scored 3 or less runs. And then if we included 4 or less runs, it's even more. When you look at the average amount of runs scored per game, the Giants are at 4.43, which again puts them in the same conversation with teams like the Royals, the Blue Jays. I mean, teams that aren't competitive. So yes, they've gotten hot, but this is not a team that can win. Now to talk about the pitching side. Madison Bumgarner is obviously a good pitcher. They need to trade him so they can get some stuff back for him. I think they have even more leverage now with the fact that they are playing better, and hopefully that's what they're doing. Hopefully they're giving off the appearance that we're going to need a lot to trade Madison Bumgarner, so if you want him, we're going to need something good. They have the leverage, use it to your advantage, get more for Mad Bum now. But if you don't trade him, I just don't understand the move. Got a 3.65 ERA, a whip at 1.178. Those are good numbers. He's a great playoff pitcher. Teams are going to give you something for it. And the Giants don't have a great farm system. They have 2 guys inside the top 100 in Major League Baseball, one of the lowest in the farm system rankings, and it's Joey Bart and Helio Ramos, who look like pretty solid players, but then after that, there's a huge drop-off. They're not a deep farm system. And besides Bumgarner on the starting pitching side, you don't have a lot of talent there either. Samardzija has an ERA above 4. You just DFA'd Derek Holland because he wasn't pitching well. Derek Rodriguez got sent down. Drew Pomeranz made the move to the bullpen. You're telling me you're going to rely on Sean Anderson, Tyler Beede, Connor Menez? I mean, these aren't guys that can lead you to the playoffs. The one thing I'll credit the Giants to is that they have a great bullpen. The bullpen has been fantastic, no doubt about that. But you know what you could do with a lot of those arms? You could trade them. You could start to get some young players back. You could start to get some farm pieces back. Maybe even some guys who are borderline MLB ready. And you could start to make a push for the future, because right now, the way this team is built, I just went through your offense, which is so mind-numbingly horrible. You can't think that this team can win on a consistent basis. 16 of 19 is great. It's called a hot streak. But when you look at the numbers, this Giants team just isn't good. In before, people tell me the Mets aren't good and I can't talk, which apparently I'm not allowed to evaluate numbers then. I'm aware the Mets are not good right now. I can admit that. Giants fans, can you admit this team's not good? Because in reality, they aren't. They are liars. They can't be trusted. They need to sell now. I mean, when you look at the ages of everybody on this team, they even have a lot of old players. It's not like they're even young and playing poorly. They're old and they're not playing well. You're not going anywhere this year. I understand it's Bruce Bochy's last season. You want him to go out on a high. How about winning 3 World Series in 5 years? I think that's what you call a high. Bruce Bochy doesn't need his legacy to end on a high note. He won 3 World Series for you in 5 seasons. That's unbelievable. But those days are over. That team is gone. Players aren't playing anywhere close to that. Buster Posey was an MVP type player. Brandon Crawford was a serviceable offensive shortstop. He's terrible now. Team's old. It's time to move on. You know what their schedule looks like for the next 2 months? Starting in August, they have 55 games. 37 of those are against teams above 500. That's not an easy schedule, and to think that you're gonna come out positive on that is just absolutely crazy when you look at how this team is built. I can't believe I'm rooting for the Giants to sell here, because it's gonna help them in the long run and make it tougher for a team like the Mets, who are in the National League in the future, but they would be foolish to hold on to this team, not make any moves, and think that they're gonna be able to compete in 2019, because they're just flat out wrong. Prior to winning 16 out of 19, here's what their record was. They were 35 and 47. Their current hot streak accounts for 18% of the games they've played this year. You're gonna go off 18% of the games in a year and say, you know what, that's the team we are. Not the other 82% where you guys were a team that was 12 games under 500 and couldn't score any runs. I just can't wrap my head around that. So that's gonna be the end of my rant. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you think the Giants should sell? Do you think they should buy? I'd love to hear what you have to say down in the comment section below. Remember, leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. We could talk baseball over there. Links in the description. So that's going to be the end of today's video. A rant about a team that I'm not a fan of. Could you have ever imagined? But it's just so crazy that this is even a question right now. But we're going to wrap it up today. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.